As expected today, the Carolina Hurricanes trimmed the roster down to 30 players. And, we were talking about this earlier this week when we did a session on the training camp decisions, and certainly expected something soon, and here it is. So, the Canes have moved all their PTOs out to kick things off. That means that the two guys that I thought maybe had a shot at the Hurricanes, Zach Aston Rees and Kiefer Bellows, are both gone. Of course, Nick Shore, Corey Conacher, Brendan Perlini, and Nathan Beaulieu are all gone, and that's not a surprise. But I did think Aston Rees in particular had a shot to make the Canes. I still think that they're going to be looking to add another forward to get a little bit more depth up front, and particularly with some of the injuries that are popping up, most recently to Ryan Suzuki, and of course Vasily Ponomarov is still out and has not even suited up in training camp yet. And of course they're still moving slowly with Andrei Svechnikov. So bit of a surprise. I guess they maybe have some different ideas at this point, but and he could come back, there's no question. But at this stage, all of the PTOs are gone. Now, what about the AHLers? That was a big question I was talking about as well. Several players that I felt needed to find a home in the AHL, and not a good situation for the Hurricanes this year. Of course, they do not have an affiliate in the American Hockey League, and that's a tough situation. They did recently sign a deal with Norfolk Admirals in the ECHL, the Eastern Coast Hockey League. And of course, they are a farm team of the Winnipeg Jets, but they now have an agreement with Carolina as well. So the Canes are sending several of the players down to Norfolk, and that'll include Blake Murray, of course, Anthony Honka, who was with Chicago last year, and I wondered if he might go back to Finland, but he's going to go to Norfolk. Of course, Griffin Mendel, he was with them last year. Ronan Seeley as well was with them. And Noel Gunler, who also played in Chicago last year. I thought Gunler might head back to Europe as well, but he's going to head down to Norfolk to start the season. The other player sent down, which was interesting, was Justin Robidas. Robidas, first-year pro. ECHL is not bad for him, a good place to start, but he'll need to get up into the American Hockey League quickly as well. So all these guys heading down to Norfolk, very interesting situation there. And then one of the other Chicago Wolves, of course, Jamieson Rees, who in recent days has really started to gain some attention in the Canes camp. He's been playing well. Rees now will go to Springfield, the Thunderbirds in the American Hockey League, and they're a St. Louis Blues affiliate. And that's good news for Rees. That means he's definitely in a position that the Canes could recall him in a hurry if they need to, and that's a good place for Rees to play this year. I think the other player that might have headed to the American Hockey League is Ryan Suzuki, but Suzuki was injured last night. Not sure the extent of that, but Suzuki was injured last night, so he is kind of on the sidelines for now and still will remain in the Canes camp. Aleksi Heimosalmi, as I suggested earlier this week, is actually heading back to his team, his club team in Finland, in Liga, so he'll be over to Asat, where he played last year, and continue his development there. So that's all good news. The other interesting move that was made was Caleb Jones was put on waivers today, and that was a little bit of a surprise for me. I had felt that Jones was going to kind of win the battle with himself and Dylan Coughlan, the two guys kind of fighting for that last defense spot, I thought, on the Hurricanes. But Jones did not have a good game last night. I thought he struggled, and that probably led to the decision that perhaps he should be put on waivers. So not sure if Jones will be picked up. If he is, it's going to free up about $800,000 or $900,000 for the Canes. So that would be a positive situation if they don't feel that he's going to contribute this year. So again, Caleb Jones going on to the waiver wire, and there's been lots of action on the waiver wire, as I've discussed earlier this week, that several interesting players have been hitting the wire. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Canes are going to keep their eyes open for a possible forward to add from the waiver wire. So let's stay tuned to that. Now, who remains in the camp for the Hurricanes of the non-starters, if you will? As I mentioned, Suzuki is still hanging around. Of course, Vasily Ponomarov is still on the roster. He has not been able to get into the lineup yet or start practice, so we'll wait and see what the disposition is on him. Yaniv Perets is still with the Hurricanes. Perets is going to back up Freddie Anderson tonight in their game against Nashville. It's a full roster for the Hurricanes. They'll be playing pretty well their starting lineup. The only player who's not in the lineup tonight who will be very, very soon is Andrei Svechnikov. So he's continuing to round into shape, and the Canes are taking their time with Andrei, as you might expect. And so they'll be going with 7 defensemen, which means both Tony DeAngelo and Jalen Chatfield will suit up tonight for the Hurricanes. 11 forwards, 7D, and then, of course, your 2 goaltenders. The other player that I think is interesting that's still in camp, or 2 players, one of them is Dominick Fensore. Fensore, I think, has impressed a lot of folks. He's not a big player on the blue line, and that's his biggest challenge. He checks in at, 5'8", 160 pounds. He is very slight for sure. And you could see him getting pushed around a little bit in the game last night. But when he gets the puck, he can really make things happen. And on the power play, he's deadly. So Fensore continues to hang on in camp as well. And not a surprise, Felix Unger-Sorum is in camp and will remain in camp for a period of time and could actually start the season with the Hurricanes. And that's an interesting possibility. If Svechnikov is not ready to kick it off on season start, it could be that Felix Unger-Sorum gets a chance to get into the lineup. As we've said earlier, he is impressing Rod Brindamore and the coaching staff quite a bit right now. He's been playing great hockey last night, playing aggressive, doing some work on the boards, getting into the dirty areas, carrying the puck, really feeling comfortable out there. And I think he's playing well beyond his 18 years, and certainly looks like a prospect that's going to have a great future with the Hurricanes. So Unger-Sorum stays, and we'll continue to watch him with a lot of interest. I think he is a player that has a lot of potential. He kind of reminds me a little bit of the situation with Seth Jarvis when he came in. Didn't really know what they were going to do with him. Thought he was going to go back to junior, but then decided he's just playing too well. And the rest is history. Of course, Jarvis has been a solid contributor for the Hurricanes since. And now we'll see about Unger-Sorum. So, some decisions to be made, some players that have to be sorted out in the next week or two as the Canes round out their lineup heading into season start. But for the most part, the moves are done, and we can get on with hockey now. So tonight's game will be interesting with the full lineup. We'll see them for the first time this year. And, of course, we continue to hear the words that the Hurricanes are really one of the key challengers for the Stanley Cup this year. So looking forward to the season start and really getting off and running. Once again, thanks for joining. Subscribe, please, if you can. And also any comments, I'd be happy to respond to them down below. Next time we'll talk further about the Canes as things happen. Once again, this is Tom Ray here on Storm Tracker.